Like so many other indie game developers, I fell into the trap of leaving games unfinished before quickly hopping onto new projects. I even tried entering game jams to encourage me to finally finish at least a small-scale project, but again, I've only gamed more dead games under my belt. So in this video, I'll be talking about my experience in game and software development, the mistakes I've made, and the emergence of a new project that I will definitely finish. After learning to program when I was in 4th grade, I quickly fell in love and tried as many coding languages as I could, eventually wanting to build larger projects like websites and games. Once I learned Next.js in high school, a framework for React, I began comfortably coding websites in JavaScript and built a variety of projects, some for school, some for fun, and some for college. I made an online educational game that taught chemistry to children, similar to the widely known math game Prodigy. I made an online digital art software for individuals with special needs that allowed teachers and organizations to monitor their creativity in a safe, controlled environment. I made a dark city builder game based on political policy, and I made a cozy animal cafe game, among others. What all these projects have in common is that they're all unfinished. And while I did enjoy developing them at the time, I fell victim to the burnout and the issues that all indie game devs face. And I kept ignoring the advice of more seasoned developers over and over and over and over again. Thus, this leads me into the purpose of this channel, which is to not only grace the public with my beautiful voice while saving them from having to see my face, but also for another purpose. I feel that if I publicize my game and encourage a small following to be excited for its release, then sooner or later I might actually finish it. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of my game plan, let's talk about what did and didn't work in the past. Whenever I get started on a new project, I would literally not rest until I've milked my brain of every single possible idea I could think of that would make it even better. This led to 2 huge glaring problems, the first being early burnout, and the second being way too many features in one game. This led me to try and develop them all at the same time, and so instead of having a handful of really interesting, unique core features, I instead had a bucket of mediocre and even crappy features, leading to a poor gameplay experience. And after watching some videos from beginner game developers, I encountered a really great piece of advice that I wish I could credit if I could remember where I got it from. But essentially, if you are working on a new project, it's better to work on a singular game function and improve it as much as you can until you feel ready to move on to another feature, rather than building something like okay and then coming back to it later. This will allow you to develop the single most interesting part of your game to your liking and making it the focal point. And as for programming issues,
oh my god, bro.
So just because I know how to code clearly doesn't mean I know how to code efficiently in GDScript, which is why I have a disgusting amount of singletons just flopping around and making my game virtually untestable. And guys, the variable names. So I'm just gonna move on. So aside from obviously following the advice I was given at the beginning of my game dev journey, deleting unnecessary singletons, and actually making an effort to write good variable names, here are some things I hope to better achieve in my next small project, including a better UI. Because wow, some of these games I made I don't even want to play because the interface looks awful. So I am exaggerating a little bit. I only hate it because I made it. It actually is passable, but I want an interface that feels more sleek and fluid and modern. And being someone that wants to design games without having much gaming experience, not unless you count Super Smash Bros. Brawl in 2012.
3, 2, 1, go!
I have a lot of difficulty in making clean UI that doesn't feel too cluttered and in your face. So naturally, I turned to the gods of Reddit, and they bestowed upon me the Game UI database, a website with screenshots from literally tens of thousands of games that documents their entire user interface design. I honestly wish I found this sooner so I could better figure out what works and what doesn't in my earlier projects, but I found some really cool designs that I want to reference now, so I'm excited to use them in my newest project. I'll also be using Figma to design my UI, and while I did know about this tool before, I low-key hated using it for some random reason I made up 3 years ago, and now that I've come to my senses, I realize what a powerful tool it actually is, and that'll save me the stress of having to come up with random UI designs on the spot during development in Godot, which was kind of stupid, but that explains why my games literally look like that. And as for some skills, I'd like to learn to polish my game dev skill set. I want to learn sound design and music theory so I can develop my own background music and even sound effects. Before, I've been relying on royalty-free websites, and sometimes the musics and sounds don't really match the vibe I want to create for my game, so I'm hoping this will add more of a personalized touch. I also want to improve my pixel art skills because while I've come a long way, I can't lie, I feel like my current art skills don't fully embody the vision I have for my latest project. And furthermore, when it comes to art, I will be starting my new project with a very basic, bare bones art and animation design, just so I can complete a proof of concept of my game and only focus on the very core gameplay. And then later, I'll add the finishing touches and the polish and the cutesy little sparkles and everything to make my game actually look pretty. Now that I laid out some plans for the future, I feel a little more hopeful for my next project, and with the extrinsic motivation that this channel provides, I hope that it's enough to actually help me power through. And finally, to reveal my next project, JK, I'm about to release my trump card early. Y'all can wait until the development actually begins.